Hello folks, welcome to another clip here on my YouTube channel. Before we get started with today's topic, so that's the euro versus the Norwegian krone, so the euro-NOK currency pair, we will be having a look at a longer term picture and just facing the longer term issues with the Norwegian krone. How is this kind of a currency reacting to a special kind of financial markets environment? For example, the financial crisis 2007-2008, that kind of a period, and of course the EUR debt crisis, and nowadays, just a couple of weeks ago, the regional banking crisis in the US. What is going on with the Norwegian krone? How is this kind of a currency reacting, and why is it possibly reacting that way we saw? And on top of that, of course, we'll be having a look at the short-term picture. So we will be having two charts this time, just to have a look what could go to the upside and what could go to the downside as well, just to unlike both sides of the story. Well, on top of that, I would like to invite you to be a member of this channel, of course, as I always do. Very much appreciate it if you just click the button. It's absolutely free for you guys. Subscription is out of fees, nothing. And on top of that, very much appreciated if you leave some thumbs up for me. Okay, so thank you very much ahead. And we'll be having a look at the charts right now. Currency pairs. You can see that is the stock theory platform, as always, showing you that the euro-NOK pace to the upside is something really crazy when you look at the Corona crisis area, beginning February 2020 into March. You see that big gap up and a move from a level of 1030s up to a level of 13, over 13, and to be 100% correct, that's the top at 13.14.51.2, which is also a 100% Fib point, where you get the starting point for the Fibonacci analysis in the longer term. And you see that low, which is at April 8 or 22, which is at 943.22.3. So these two levels combine and they give you the certain Fibonacci retracements where we are looking at, especially when we see those two boxes here, box to the upside, possible target for the bulls or for those who are patient and waiting to get this euro-NOK in that kind of an area and to start a short, euro-NOK short. And the possible target is the 38.2 level, which is around the 1080s right here, in combination with a move back to the EMAs, just to see that kind of level would be something like an oversold territory again. So this is something like this kind of a move would lead the RSI into the overbought, not oversold, overbought territories, I meant. And this is going to be a nice setup for a short. Nothing to lure you into some shorts or into some longs in that kind of a currency pair. Only want to express that this is nothing about rocket science and this is nothing about having Marilyn's glass ball somewhere. We are all looking at the same charts and the same candles and the same colors possibly, and this is the reason I simply show you this is a longer term perspective and what could happen to that euro-Norwegian krone. All right. Regarding a couple of moves we see here from Corona crisis level highs here, and you realize that the NOK in that kind of an area is nothing like a safe haven. So euro, US dollar pressed a lot. The whole US dollar pressed the currency, the NOK-y, absolutely to everything else but strength. It is tremendous weakness. And you will seeing that and observing that stuff all the time when you see something like big market events. Go back in the chart history, you will find a couple of happenings like that, especially at the world financial crisis 2007-2008. You will be seeing that there is massive move to the upside and NOK-y weakness. And you see that all the time when things happen like big events and the equity indices, like the US equity indices, the most important ones, the Dow Jones, Nasdaq 100, S&P 500 are having something like a crash scenario. You see a lot of weakness in a currency like the NOK, for example, in a short-term picture. The longer run, if you see that things are smoothing, of course the Corona crisis is not over in that kind of a period here, but just that kind of extreme market event has been built back, and the NOK got stronger. And especially that kind of an area was very, very difficult for Norway, because we had something like oil prices going sub-zero. And you know it yourselves, Norway is one of the biggest countries related to their GDP, where they get a lot of money from oil and gas. Have a look at the, let's say, latest history in the year 22. We all know the sad story about Ukraine, Russia, and the Russian-Ukrainian war. And you see a couple of candles walk in that kind of a territory here, end of February, where all this kind of mess started. And you see Norwegian Krone, so the NOK, got stronger in a geopolitical crisis, which melted into something like a war. And this is just a reason that you see that, in addition, please, with a chart of Brent or WTI, and you see very strong spiking oil prices to the upside. So the more oil and gas are spiking to the upside, the more strength you see in that NOK. But as well, of course, the Norwegian bank, so the central bank, has something to do with avoiding too much strength and doing something to smooth things, and simply start selling the NOK, just because of the reason that all the massive income from oil and gas business is flooding the Norwegian pension fund. Because the Norwegian bank, so the Norwegian central bank, is the asset manager of the Norwegian pension fund. So that's the biggest state fund of the world. If you're interested, have a look at the website of the Norwegian pension fund, and you will be having something like not only open eyes when you see all these kind of big numbers, and way over $1 trillion in assets across all asset classes. So this kind of money has to be well diversified into other currencies, and so they are selling NOK massively, and they are buying euros, they are buying US dollars and Swiss francs and pounds, whatever is worth buying, and so the NOK got weaker again. So this is something like happening in a couple of waves. What is also happening is, on top of that, you see prices, please see prices of the Dutch TTF gas futures. So that's Europe's leading gas contract, and you will be seeing that something like move to the August. You see that, the move to the August, almost end of August. So this is a period of extremely more and more expensive prices for the leading European gas contract, the Dutch TTF futures. And that kind of an area here from month to month, that kind of contract went up to 350 euros a megawatt hour. So that's extremely crazy. And that was the time where the Norwegian krone got stronger and stronger. Of course, they are happy to be flooded with money again. And you see the same stuff happens as well. On top of that, the leading gas contract, the Dutch TTF futures, came down massively, of course. But on top of that, the Norwegian bank sold NOK again. So the more the gas future contracts, tanking, going back down 100 euros and going even back down 50 euros a megawatt hour, and going back down the prices we saw before the Russian-Ukrainian war started, the more the NOK got weaker and weaker. So a lot of that stuff has to do with income from oil and gas, yes, but on top of that, a lot of the move to the upside has as well to do with selling NOK from the Norwegian bank. Regarding the US regional banking crisis, you don't see really big moves here. You see that the last 2 or 3 weeks, you almost see nothing. It's not very strong. So it's not very pressuring. It's not a pressure event for the NOK right now. So in the longer run, please have a look at the 2 boxes. So looking into the next weeks, possibly we reach that kind of a level. So that would be a nice zone for a shorting position, for a short position. And those who are Euro NOK long, as already, they possibly think about securing or taking out a half of the size or whatever, or just taking the winners and maybe reshorting or waiting to maybe something like taking that in direction of the 1080s here and to be long again to the upside. Always remember risk and money management. Always remember, don't overdo. Leverage is a very important topic. Don't overdo. If you work with leverages from, let's say, 5 to 10, in my opinion, depends on your size, it's enough. If you're working with small amounts of money and you are able to trade with higher leverages, 10 to 20, well, do so. It's your own money. I can't guide you with that. I can't see your accounts. I can't have a look into your accounts. But always remember, there's something like a ratio between your amount of money in your account and the risk you're taking. So just a warning. All right. This time there's nothing like an outro, so you won't see me right now. Of course, I wish you a happy weekend and not to forget a sunny weekend. While I was recording that one here, it's raining cats and dogs. And hopefully you will have a perfect new week with loads of pips and a perfect start on Monday, of course, first. Thank you very much for your attention, for your time, and see you next time. Bye bye.